I'm aware that many of you have expressed a desire for online counseling, and to that effect, we have a sponsor who will help you and assist you in that respect. So if you will, go beneath the video, you'll find a link to our online counseling sponsor. They have a whole team of counselors that can help you. Practice self-care, get the help that you need. Would you consider yourself to be a person of peace? I hope so. There are many ingredients that go into the making of a healthy personality, and certainly being at peace with yourself and at peace with the world around you as you're able is one of those healthy ingredients. Now, I want to set up our discussion here today by giving you a rather absurd illustration to begin, but bear with me. Let's suppose that you've been in a bad car accident. And so the ambulance drivers come and bring you to the emergency room. And as they enter into the emergency room, they encounter the people from the ambulance encounter a clerk. And it's like, hey, I found this person on the side of the road. They're in terrible shape. I don't know what to do. You got to take over and do something quick. So the clerk looks at you and says, oh, this is awful. This is terrible. So they call the attending nurse. And the nurse is like, ugh, what do we do at a time like this? This is ridiculous. I've seen these before, but I don't like these at all. So she calls the medical doctor, and the medical doctor's thinking, well, I was having lunch. And besides, this is just more than I really wanted to handle. But then the medical doctor calls all the other attending people, the x-ray people and the other folks that are going to work with you. And they're all just in a dither. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? And then as they begin to talk to your family and friends that might be with you, all of those people are over there thinking, well, this is just a fine howdy-do. I don't like this one bit. This is not the way I wanted to play out my day. Chaotic, right? And like I say, I go into the world of absurd with that. As ridiculous as that is, there are, you can see that we need someone and several someones in that illustration to step forward to say, I'm going to be a calming presence. We don't need all that chaos. We don't need all of that rowdy and disruptive kind of reaction at all when there's difficulty. Now, I think you can see where I'm going. What about in your personal life? Are there some scenarios where you have some problems that show up, and the last thing you need is that chaotic, agitated kind of response? For example, it could be that inside your home you've got kids or your partner, your spouse, and people that you're with, and they're just not acting in the way you want. Do you go into that chaotic mode, or do they draw you into their chaos? It could be that we're talking about in a world of work where there are those individuals who are just very difficult, and you have people that you engage with there that just want to argue, or they're very forceful. Extended family, social circles. Many times whenever there are strains and difficulties, instead of operating with a mind of peace, individuals can instead go into sniping or what I call boomerang communication. You throw your problems with them, they throw their problems right back at you. They can go into shutdown mode. They can become agitated, impatient, irritable. That's not what we need. Now, I'm wondering if you could determine, well, I want to be a person that brings peace. I know that when I was in graduate school and I was a young therapist in the making, it was so emphasized how your persona is going to be one of the most primary powerful tools that you can bring to the therapeutic equation. And that's a message that has never been lost on me. I wish that I could say I have it down perfect. I'm working on it just like all the rest. But there are several ingredients that we can zero in on that can help you be that person who stays out of emotional and relational chaos and can be a giver of calmness and peace. Now, let's see if we can go through 5 primary ingredients that can help you be a person of peace. Now, the first ingredient that I'm hoping that we can manage to zero in on is the ingredient of objectivity. Or let's put it in a different kind of terminology. Are you the kind of person that has a pensive mindset? Do you like to think things through? as opposed to just being a raw reactor. Let's take a look at what's going on here. I feel this, you feel that. How did we arrive at our different conclusions here? I hope that I can learn from you. It'd be nice if you'd be willing to learn from me. Let's think this thing through and get a real good understanding of where we are and what's going on and what the meaning of things are. You know that's a rather odd or an unusual characteristic in many tense and upsetting kind of circumstances. But would you be an objective person who can think things through carefully? A second primary ingredient is gentleness. Now, I know that many of you have been exposed to very blustery and forceful kind of individuals. People of peace don't feel the need to go into the power mode over others. Now, when I say gentleness, by all means, don't assume that means weakness. Actually, gentleness can be the ultimate strength. Rather than turning your relationships into a one up, one down, who's superior kind of a thing, I just don't feel the need to do that. All that does is it increases the sense of duress. Some people, instead of gentleness, whenever there are strains and difficulties, they go into the stubborn mode, or they become persuasive, or they have an overpowering way of communicating. And frankly, all that does is it illustrates a fragile ego. By going into that high forcefulness and dramatic kind of mode, it's their way of saying, I don't know what to do, so I just have to apply a quick and hurried up kind of a response here. Gentleness is strength. It's strength under fire. And it's your way of saying, I know me well enough to know that I'm going to get through this. I don't want to contribute to that chaotic situation in that way. A third ingredient that's most necessary if you're to be a person of peace is you understand the whole concept of dignity. When people conflict with one another, when we bring our strains and difficulties, there's always the chance that someone's going to be wrong or misguided. Do you treat that person with disdain? Or do you treat that person with dignity, even in the midst of, or perhaps I could say, especially in the midst of conflict and tension? When you treat someone with dignity, it's your way of saying, well, despite the fact that you and I are not on the same page, the fact is, I want you to walk away with your goodwill still intact. This is not a competition. This is not something that is an opportunity for me to smear you. Let's make sure that we engage with each other so that there's a sense of equality between you and me. And right on the heels of dignity is a fourth ingredient, and that's the ingredient of worth. I want to treat people like they have worth. Now, obviously, I can't do that towards someone else if I don't have that on the inside of me. I have worth as a human being. There are unique skills and capabilities and insights and awarenesses that I carry. I embrace that. And I want to be known as somebody that has qualities that others would aspire to have. But then so do you. You have worth. And there are some elements about you that I could benefit from. And so I want to make sure that I engage with you in such a way that reinforces your worth and your uniqueness, just as I would hope that you would do me. If you don't allow me to have, you don't give me worth, the fact is I still have worth anyway, and that's how I'm going to operate. And then a fifth ingredient that can help you become a person of peace is the ingredient of freedom. You start with the assumption, it's not my job to coerce people and to tell them what to do and fit them into my mold. As a free person, I recognize the position of choice. Everybody has a choice. So if somebody's being disruptive, or if somebody's being argumentative, rather than me playing into the chaos and going into the high control mode, no, all it's going to do is just make it worse. You're free to be what you are. I don't particularly like what you are. I wish that you would be different, but let's talk about what your alternatives are. And interestingly, as you engage as a free person, you realize you're free to respond as you wish, and chaos is not what you freely choose, and others are free to be what they wish. Then that sets the pace for a much cleaner dialogue. So here we have it. objectivity, gentleness, dignity, worth, and freedom. Now, there obviously could be other ingredients, but that gives you a pretty good head start. See, I want you to go back to that emergency room situation. You don't want people in your life who, particularly at your time of need, who are going to bring chaos to you. And just as you don't want that to happen to you, you don't want to be that person toward other individuals. I'm hoping you can be the kind of person that says, I stand for things that are right and good. And I know who I am, I know where I'm going, and if somebody else doesn't seem to catch on to what it looks like, let me illustrate to you what it looks like. Can you do that? So your challenge is to figure out the qualities that can make you, or can show that you're a person of peace. And if other individuals appreciate your efforts, that would be really nice. And in the event that they don't appreciate your effort, you're still ahead. I'm hoping that you could be that person that says, on the inside of me, I'm okay with who I am. I'm at peace with who I am. I'm a work in progress. And that's what I bring to the relationship. We need more people that can think that way, don't we? And I hope that you're going to be someone that would join me in the effort to do that. We're all going in the same direction, I hope, as we are on Team Healthy with each other. And I hope the videos such as this give you some good things to think about. If you've not already done so, I would encourage you to subscribe to our Dr. Les Carter channel. You know, I have my other Surviving Narcissism channel, but this is one where we talk about things in a different kind of angle. If you have a need for counseling, it may be that you would you could find somebody in your immediate area to help you with that. If you don't have that, or if you would prefer, we have a link below that would take you to our sponsor who has online counseling with a whole team of licensed professional counselors with experience. And so if that's the case, and if you really need to have somebody help you sift it out, I would encourage you to seek that if necessary. We also have other resources, my courses, free to be, and we have an upcoming This Is Me about boundaries, as well as our webinars. So make sure that you stay on top of those, as well as links to books, etc. I'm hoping you can be a person of peace, and I'm hoping you can be you can have it such that it shows up, especially in moments of strain and difficulty. And in doing so, that also positions you to be a person of influence and steadiness. Let's work together on that as a good goal.